She's the kind of girl you bring home to mama, probably cause of everything her mama taught her. Tell her mom I'm proud to be your daughter. Oh, lovely with the sweetness, she is gorgeous and a genius. How she do it, what's the reason? She got it from her mom. Pass the torch, that's what she does this for. Living good still wants to give a girl more. She'll teach her to be kind and great. She'll show her how to work and play. Taught her how to love and how to lead. Prove to her relationships the key. Mama has no doubt that she's ready for the world, but she brings up the world. She got it from her mama. She got it from her mama. She got it from her mama. She got it, 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 she got it from her.
Welcome to She Got It From Her Mama. This is a story of legacy, generational wealth. I mean generation upon generation upon generation upon, yes, 4 generations of mothers teaching daughters what it means to be an entrepreneur and an employer.
We're really excited to get into this conversation, so we will see you all after this quick message from our sponsor, our moment of wellness, and our Reddix rules. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to this week's Moment of Wellness. Today we're going to be exploring different breathing and meditation techniques that you can incorporate into your routine. These are really simple. What I love about meditation and pranayama, which is the breath focus of yoga, is that you're able to really do it anytime, anywhere. You don't need a fancy setup, you don't need a yoga mat, you don't need a meditation pillow. You could really do this laying in bed, sitting on your sofa, sitting in your desk chair, wherever you feel comfortable. So we're gonna get started finding that seat. Wherever you wanna go, you can cross your legs, you can lay down, whatever's gonna be comfortable for you. I'm gonna stay seated. You can either allow your palms to cup your knees for grounding or keep your palms open facing the sky to receive abundance. Roll your shoulders back. Wherever you are, you wanna keep your spine as straight as possible. Imagine that there's a thread pulling you up, and allow your eyes to fall shut. So we're gonna start just breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Noticing the sensations in your body as you breathe. On your next inhale, pay attention to where the breath goes. You should feel your stomach expanding like a balloon, and on your exhale, you should feel all of that air coming out and your stomach becoming flat once again. The first technique that we're gonna try is called box breathing. I like box breathing because it's really simple, it's simple counting, and you're really able to feel the benefits. This is one great to do before bed to help you fall asleep. Box breathing is all about 4. So you're gonna inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. So we're gonna inhale through our nose for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, and through our mouths, exhale, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1. So try again with me, counting in your head. You can continue breathing like that for 3 to 5 minutes to maximize the benefits. The next method is just a simple breath count. Here, we're just paying attention to your breathing. We're not holding for any particular amount of time, but you're really just focused on allowing your mind to be blank. Here, we're just gonna count to 10. So with each inhale and exhale, count 1, the next one 2, until you get to 10. Then you're gonna start again from 1. The focus of this is oftentimes during meditation, people don't know what to think about. They have all of these thoughts flying through their heads and they feel like they can't control them. But with meditation, the goal isn't to control your thoughts, it's to notice them, but to not engage. So here, by focusing on the simple count, you're allowing your mind to feel like it has something to focus on when really the breath is at the center. I hope that you like these meditation methods. You can try them at home, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.
My name is Deon Copeland, and since the pandemic, we still have not come back to full capacity just yet. Myself and my operators, we alternate our schedules so we don't have more than 10 people in the salon at a time. So it's been kind of hard because we don't have paid leaves as cosmetologists. So we have to work, in spite of. Since receiving the grant, it came at the perfect time because, things were, the governor has, shut us down, and you're talking about going a couple of months, without working. But the bills still have to be paid, the utilities come in and everything, and you have workers that can't work. So it came at the appropriate time. It was a blessing. You can find us on Facebook at JustTad2000 and on Instagram, the same, JustTad2000.
Let's get into this conversation. Ronnette and Jan are two amazing, trailblazing women who have taken their educational training to serve others as successful entrepreneurs. Joining us from Washington, D.C., Mom Jan served with the Air Force before retiring as Chief Master Sergeant. A lifetime of service, this beautiful duo is here to share their story of running two successful businesses. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hi, thank you.
Hello, hello. I tell you, when Jan and I met, it was like kindred spirits. I loved your story. So I would love if you all can share, actually, Ronnette and Jan, if you could share your stories of how the company came to be.
Okay. All right, I'll start since I guess it all started with me. I was, as you mentioned, was in the Air Force for 24 years. And when I was about to retire, I got a call from a former supervisor who was in Washington, D.C., to ask me if I wanted to come and work as a contractor. And I said, sure. So I retired, I took the job. And then when my job was about to expire, because I was on a contract, when the contract was about to expire, one of my immediate supervisors and senior executive service federal employee asked if I was interested in starting my own company. And of course, I'm the kind of person, if you tell me something or ask me something and it makes perfect sense, then I'm going to do it. So I started my company, and when my contract ended, I ended up getting my first contract with the government as an independent consultant. And then I did that for about a couple years before another senior executive service individual came on board and says, well, do you want to grow your company? And I said, absolutely, I do. And then he awarded me my first contract because I hurt my back when I was in service. So I'm considered a service disabled veteran. And in the aviation community, you don't have to actually compete the work. You can give direct awards to service disabled veterans. And that's how I picked up my first contract. And then I started running the company. And then I saw my daughter was working, and I'll let her talk about how she came into being from my starting my company.
And Jan, before we go to Ronnette, could you explain what your company does?
So we provide program management support to the Federal Aviation Administration. And in that realm, we also provide software development, engineering support. We have individuals who install radar around the United States, the perimeter of the United States, Puerto Rico, Guam, and Hawaii, and financial support. So we do a host of program management type supports. We don't produce widgets or create widgets, but we provide a lot of support to the aviation community, and I have about 170 employees full-time.
Wow. I needed everyone to hear that because I am also in the federal government space, and I can tell you there's not a lot of you out there doing the type of work that you're doing. So I wanted everyone to recognize how impactful your business is. So Ronnette, take it from there.
Yes, so Ronnette Meyers, my company is JLAN Solutions, and we provide professional services to the federal government and information technology support services. And we are a small business, 8A, as you're familiar with, and a HubZone company. And we're in about 7 agencies now providing those services. But how JLAN was created was, I remember working for the FAA, actually. And my mom called me one day and she says, I'm starting this company and I need you to quit your good government job and come help me run this. So me saying, Mom needed this? Yes, absolutely. And so I actually worked from the basement of my home in California to help her build her infrastructure, managing HR, contracts, accounting, that type of work, before I actually came back to Washington, D.C. And so my mom was actually walking through the halls one day and ran into someone that I used to support when I was in D.C. And she says, I need Ronnette. And how can I get her? And mom says, well, I have my own company. You can give me a contract. And she did. And so hence I moved my family back to DC and supported my mother in her company. And then, we just started having some little strategy sessions on how can we continue to grow the business? How can we look at generational wealth for our families? Because you don't see a lot of that in our community. And so we came up, the two of us, with me starting a company, and I did that. And coming up with the name was actually quite easy because my grandmother, my mom's mom, was an entrepreneur. She had a beauty salon on the front porch of her home. And then my mom's an entrepreneur, so I'm an entrepreneur, and I wanted to instill entrepreneurship in my children. And so I took the first initial of all four of my children, and hence JLAN Solutions, Jamie, Lene, Asia, and Nia, so that I can instill entrepreneurship in them. And now 2 of them are business owners.
Outstanding. So we are definitely, this is what we're talking about. When we are raised in an environment where there are entrepreneurs present, it just makes it a little bit easier to understand how to walk through that door, and not only to build the company, but to sustain the company and to grow the company. I would like to, Ronnette and I really got into a deep conversation when we spoke, and I really have a desire to help other small business owners, in particular minority women, understand how to navigate federal government contracting. The federal government is the top customer in the world. And many people don't even know how to get started. So I was thinking that maybe we can take this time, these businesses combined, they're definitely double-digit million-dollar businesses that we're talking about. And so maybe we can help our audience through your experiences and give them 4 solid tips or 4 solid steps in order to break into the federal government. So I have some questions specific to those that through your experience, hopefully you can share. How's that sound, ladies?
Sounds great.
That sounds good.
So
Yes.
I want to go first to a little bit of alphabet soup. So we said service disabled, we said 8A, we said hub zone. So let's categorize that first of all. So I am brand new. I have an idea for a business, and I have been told that I can do work with the federal government. Can we explain how those 3 particular alphabet soup that we just talked about, what is that called, and how does that help you play in the federal government space?
Great. So I'll go ahead if that's okay with you, Jan. So
Absolutely.
the government, the Small Business Administration has a mandate to have social economic set-asides for small businesses and minority-owned businesses. And so they have what's called an 8A, which is a small disadvantaged business. And you have to be a minority in order to qualify for the 8A. You also have a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. So you have to be certified by the VA to receive that certification. And then hub zone is a historically underutilized business zone. So it's a lower income area where your business is located in an area, and that is also a social economic set aside. And our business is located in one. And then you also have Native American, and there's one more.
Woman-owned.
Woman-owned, of course, and there's woman-owned small business as well. So those are the 5 categories for the social economic set-asides.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And they were,
Go ahead,
I'm
Jan.
sorry.
No,
And
go
they
ahead.
were developed because predominantly, all through life, basically, white males were getting all of the contracts. And, the light came on to somebody one day, or there were enough people who complained or brought their grievances to the forefront till somebody finally listened and said, we need to do something about that. So in order to try to level the playing field, these set-asides were created so that other people, other categories of people could get opportunities to get some of these contracts.
All right, so tip number one, everyone. I'm asked all the time, how do you get into the federal government space? Well, if you qualify for any of those that you just heard, that's step number one. You want to register yourself and get the appropriate certifications to ensure that you have a leg up because of the disadvantage. All right, so going to number two. I want to get started in the federal government. How do I even register my business?
So for me, I would recommend that people go to their local small business office. In DC, it's called DSLBD, which is DC Department of Small and Local Disadvantaged Business. And there is a great starting point because they have classes for people who want to actually start a business. They will help you go online and to the IRS to get your EIN number, which is your employer identification number, almost like your social security number. And then also they have what's called the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, the PTAC. And this is a free service. Let me just spell that, FREE, for our listeners out there. It is free. You do not have to pay someone to help you start your business.
Wow.
They do have government-funded programs that will help you. And the PTAC has been phenomenal in the District of Columbia. They have helped me develop my capability statement. They actually help review my proposals before I actually press send. They won't write them for you, but they will help you to ensure that you answered the mail. So they're there just to guide you along the way and to also offer free classes, whether it's in proposal writing, pricing, capture management, building relationships, and even taxes. So they will help navigate through that process with you to help you along the way. And one other thing that I would add is, and you may be get to this later, but have an executive coach when you're able to help you reach your milestones as well. So that's been key for me. And Jan, did you want to add?
So Jan or Ronnette, on that same line, can you go a little bit into SAMs and the importance of SAMs?
Absolutely. So SAM is a system award management system that has been developed by the Small Business Administration. And in order for you to do business with the federal government, you have to be registered in SAM. Your banking information in there and your NAICS code, which is a code that describes the services that you are going to deliver. So if, for instance, you want to provide administrative support services, there is a 6-digit code for that. And you can Google NAICS. It's a NAICS code. But you have to be registered in SAM in order to do business. And you would also put in there your capabilities, your mailing address, your EIN number, which is your employer identification number. You will also need a DUNS number, which is a Duns and Bradstreet number that is required. And there are other codes like cage codes, but once you're in the system, you'll see what all of the requirements are that is required to do business with the federal government.
And if I may say something, I think another very important place that people can start is at SBA.gov. The Small Business Administration actually lists in finite detail, step 1 through or A through Z, all the things that you need to register a business, to get started with a business, to get funding for a business, all those things that you need to know to actually start a business. And another thing is industry days. If you're interested in if you go to, SAMs, absolutely. Go there and find some opportunities that interest you. Put your company name down there to get information on it. Go to the industry days or small business events that they may have, and talk to other companies that may be already in that government agency to see about possibly teaming with them. But SBA.gov, I think, is very important to go to get information to start your business.
So we wanted to just give you some real concrete tips to get started. These are common questions, and sometimes you don't even know the question to ask. And so hopefully this gets you started. Now, I would love for both Jan and Ronnette to share, all right, you started your business. If you could say the single thing that you believe allowed you to be successful in your business, what would that be?
So I'll start with that one. I think the single thing is to treat my employees the way that I would want to be treated. I started out, as I said, as a consultant before I actually hired my first employee. So for a couple things that you were talking about at the beginning of your conversation, started out as a consultant working for the federal government, seeing how the process worked as far as starting a business. But I've always been of the mind that I would treat my people the way that I would want to be treated.
Powerful. Ronnette, what would you say yours is?
Passion. I have a passion. I love this business. I love what I do. And I learned from my mother. And she has instilled so much in me that I want to be able to exude the same type of passion, determination, inspiration to my employees, to my customers, as she has done for hers. So I'm passionate about what I do, and I believe in what I do. And building the right team, you'll get to where you want to be.
What I wanted to instill in my children, now I was a single parent. Well, let me start this way. When I graduated high school, I got married. I had 2 kids. The marriage didn't work out, so I divorced him. I moved to the project and got on welfare because I was of the mind that I really wanted to stay home the first 5 years of my children's life to teach them morals, teach them how to deal with people, how to be good citizens. And when they finally went to school, I went to work full time. So I, had that time with the children to be able to instill in them, some values and things that they needed to be successful in life. And if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't change a thing. I didn't join the military till I was 27 years old, and the children were in elementary school and they got to travel with me. So I would not change a thing in my life.
Beautiful outlook, beautiful. So I tell you, your story is so, just so inspiring, and really the strategy that you all had, that you will continue generational wealth by establishing the second business and then being able to take advantage of the 8A program. It is really a message for all of us, that we definitely look beyond our current circumstance to make sure that we're setting up the foundation for generations to come. So in this conversation, I've heard 4 generations of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
For women being girl bosses, like real girl bosses. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. We would love to have more conversations. We are being told our time is up. So we want to know how others can hear from you and connect with you. So could you give us your social media handles?
Absolutely. At JLAN Solutions, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And my Facebook is at JLAN Solutions as well. And then my personal is Ronnette Meyers.
And JMA Solutions is at JMA Solutions DC. So that's across the board.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation, and we will see you all right after this message from our sponsor. I don't know about you all, but I learned a lot from that conversation.
Listen, consider this as a public service announcement. Become a federal government contractor. Let me just tell you, it's not easy, but the government is the largest employer. The government is the largest customer. So there's some really simple tips, but once you get there, what you want to make sure you do is get a coach. Get someone who can mentor you through the process. I look forward to bringing you more information about how to be successful in the federal government contracting space. Listen, this is my specialty. This is the area that's allowed me to grow and to be able to give to the community because of the success I have actually witnessed in the federal government contracting. I'd love to work with you. Go to angelareddix.com, send me an email. We are setting up cohorts to learn to be federal government contractors.
We've enjoyed this episode and we can't wait to see you all next week. We're gonna go out with a song from our house band. But until our next episode, bye.
She got it from her mama.